Welcome, everyone, to Paranormal Roundtable. I'm your host, Josh Turner. And see, there's a confusion there. I want to make sure, because some people are calling me Josh Turdner. Josh Turdner. I don't know why.
It's a common mistake.
Common mistake. I know these people really love me, and so they call me all kinds of names, like all kinds.
I've been calling you Turdner this whole time.
The whole
I'm glad
time.
you cleared that up.
Yeah, I'm glad because and I thought that so maybe it was just a term of endearment, but then I looked and all these people are basically rioting against me. So maybe it was a mistake. I want to believe that everybody really loves me, and it was just a mistake. But my name is Josh Turner, not Turdner. So just so everybody knows.
Huh.
You would think those people would know, considering the fact that they listen to every episode and every live stream, and they're listening right now.
I was just going to say that they stalk everything. I think some of them have I'm not even joking, I think they've bought Patreon and memberships just so they can hear what I'm saying. And
let's just say they have learning disabilities. Be nice about it.
I always pay to crap talk my enemies, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Man. So when they said flatten the curve, they meant they didn't mean the learning curve.
Yeah.
They meant the curve on their foreheads.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's more flattened out there.
Yeah.
So we're back with Sean this week, okay? And if my timing is right on this, this is the 4th episode with him, and it has been fire. Talking with him about all these things. It brings up all these good points. He makes a lot of good points, and then we just go round and round. So we don't do interviews here. We do discussions. It's roundtable discussions, and that's what we're doing here. But before I go any further, I gotta say, just like my enemies who want to keep up with everything I do, and everything that here at PRT is doing, join the Patreon. $10, $20, $30, $40, $50 tier. And the higher the tier, the more swag you get. After 2 months, you get a swag bag. And then after 6 months after that?
Yeah.
You get another one. So it's a really good deal. So jump on. Get on it. It's $10 minimum. And it helps the show immensely. And the shows are on Patreon every Tuesday at 7 o'clock. And we have built quite the impressive library of Patreon shows. I had a member the other day who just messaged me and said, "Hey, man," he's like, "I joined and I watched every one of them, binge watch. It was crazy because I really enjoyed it." And then he just got to watch them all. So you go do that. And then you'll get a new one every Tuesday. And then it doesn't stop. So Thursday is the members only, and that's $5. And that's a YouTube thing. It's just YouTube, and they offer that members or whatever. And so it's $5 and you get an extra show at 7 p.m. every Thursday. So can't beat it. Basically, for a minimum of $15, you get 2 extra shows a week. Who does that? Who's giving you all that goodness, right? And plus swag bags, you get that swag. So join the Patreon and join the members only on YouTube, and you won't be disappointed. And remember, we're on Monday. People come on and tell their encounters. My co-host is Dick Richards, who's here with us tonight. And then Sunday, we retell people's encounters. And then Wednesday, we do that again. And then Friday, we have this. We have the talks here, interviews, round table discussions. And then Saturday, we have these short 30 to 40-minute episodes. So a lot of PRT going on, folks. So here we are again. Sean, when we last left off with you, you were talking about some epic battle you had with Frankenstein at a mortuary. What was going on with that?
Oh, I know, man. He just got up and began to slam him with his fist.
He slammed you in the face. He just punched you in the face. That's what he said. He said, "I don't like the way you look. You have an unsavory look about you." And he began to beat you with his arms.
Yep. I didn't know what hit me.
Okay, so Frankenstein's monster notwithstanding. Let's just, okay, so tell us what happened with this. You were talking about the toe tags.
Yes. So she again came running upstairs, extremely upset and panicked. I said, "Well, okay, what's going on?" She's like, "You're not going to believe me. You're not going to believe me." I'm like, "Trust me, we'll believe you." I had another coworker with me too. "Tell us what happened." She described she was by the computer downstairs. So there's a separate room that has like a lock and key wall, right? So there's high security in place for obvious reasons. and she's sitting on the computer typing away, and then she described a extremely evil, negative presence behind her. So she stops on the computer and turns around, and now we place our deceased on these lined up tables, and their feet are facing on her side. And since all these people had come from the hospitals, their toe tags will be streamed. If it's a medical examiner, it'll be steel. All these toe tags were all standing up, 5 down the line, defying gravity. And she panicked, ran upstairs, ran up the stairs to the staff room, which is above us. This is a kind of facility site. We bring all the people because we have so many locations. We can't embalm and do all that stuff at each location. So we bring them to a central location and then bring them out to the main homes where they need to go. So I go calm it down. I run downstairs. I go and check. Everything's fine. I sense nothing wrong. All the toe tags are normal. So I come back up. We calm it down. We have a lunch together, and we come down, make sure she's all good, and then we go on about our day. That's just the one of the many experiences. Um, this central location, I was in there once with my van, parked in, and I'm filling out my paperwork quickly, and I see in my side mirror a shadow person walk by behind my vehicle. So I put my stuff down, I come out, I walk back to my van. There's no one there. My coworker comes in from the door just on the side from outside. I ask him, "Do you just come by here? Did someone just come in?" "No, I've seen no one. You're the only person here right now besides me." And so I'm going, well, I just described him what I saw. It's like, oh yeah, some people will see them once in a while. The door where we keep most of the deceased and do the embalming work, there's a little bit of a gap on the bottom. And head embalmer would tell me, we try not to look at that gap during the day because there'll be times where there's someone standing there in their black shoes and there's no one else in the building besides us in that room. And they go to open that door and there's no one there. So they get creeped out about it. So they tend not to look at that bottom line crack because sometimes there'll be just like someone standing there. One night, it was like 12 at night. So I'd work a month of days and then a month of graveyard shift, pun intended. Um, and I'm closing the van door, getting ready to leave to do a run, just for supplies and stuff. No one's on board. And I see behind me in the reflection of the van door, someone in a suit just like mine, but their upper chest and shoulders are at the very top of the windshield behind me, standing directly behind me. So I sit there for a good 5 seconds, blinking, looking at it. Yeah, no, I'm really seeing this. Turn around, there's no one there. Okay, turn back, go in the van. This you get a little bit desensitized if you're there long enough, but that certainly left an impression on me. Open the door, leave, close the door behind me, and go and do my run. Lots of activity there like that. I've gone to the washroom we had in there, and it's also like someone shoulder checks the door. And at that point, I literally tell the spirits, "Hey, I need none of that shit tonight, right? I'm here by myself. Don't do that." I didn't find out till near the end of my career there that most of my coworkers didn't want to hang out in that location. It made sense because that's where we could run and do our runs when we get called for releases, and it's because they were terrified of the place, especially during the night shift. At least the days you had other staff members around, but during the night it's usually just you two and the dispatch person in the other funeral home, and that's it. Now that the funeral home this dispatch person tends to be at, lots of activity there too. I went up there once. There's a second level where the viewing rooms are, so I go up and I'm going to replace a door tag that wasn't printed properly. And it's about 1 in the morning. And so I only have the light in the hallway. I come into the room, the deceased is all good that I set up earlier. And I don't turn the lights on the room because I'm somewhat semi used to the building. I know where everything is. I open that door and I'm putting the tag in. The door to the hallway where the light is, my only light source, slammed shut. And so I go, oh, okay, that's unexpected. And I come around, check no one's there. Okay. Plenty of experiences of stuff like that. One of the big ones is muttering voices. So if you're in the washroom or you're down the hallway and you'll hear like two, three, four people like talking together in like a hush kind of muttery tone. Can't understand exactly what's being said. but you do hear like there's people talking. Um, I got it didn't happen all the time. It'd be on and off, on for a while, then it'd be calm, nothing would happen. The time it creeped me out was one location is in the cemetery, and I wasn't expecting it, and it had not happened there before, and that one creeped me out pretty good. I quickly finished my work and left. Just a lot of stuff like that. We've had objects go moving, and we caught it on film too. In the main central location, one of those old charging phone stations go flying across the room. There's another interesting story where this individual who passed away who had some notoriety within the city. Um, they weren't a bad person. They just had a history with the police and other groups. But they had left instructions for some of their personal belongings, some electronics to be donated to a charity. Well, one of our coworkers was very kind, and because they were broken, he said, "I can fix this stuff for you guys. I know how to fix this stuff, and I'll do it for free for the family and the community." And they said, "Ah, that's great, absolutely." So they brought it home to work on it, and they had issues with the lights going on and off, stuff being moved around in the house until they brought the stuff to the charity, and then finally it all calmed down and stopped. So this guy wanted to get that to the charity and not be left at the house of this person.
Dang, man. I don't, that just, I would not take anything.
No.
No way, dude. No way at all. I mean, what about you, Dick? Would you do that?
No, not in a million years.
Well, the other day you were saying you were a grave robber. Now you're saying you wouldn't do that.
Well, I just take the people. I don't take the electronics and dumb things like that.
Not even to fix them for the family.
He's just like, I'm not into taking their stuff. I just take them. You know.
Yeah, no,
Nothing. Can't nothing bad happen today.
I mean, a couple of skulls is one thing, but taking somebody's Walkman, that's just crazy.
That's just nuts. You know, I'm going to say something, and this may sound completely weird, but I think of weird stuff all the time, I guess, because of the nature of what I do. All right. But, okay, let's take, for example, Ed Gein. Okay, we were joking around, but he literally was a grave robber. And he did all these crazy things, right? Do you think his house was just completely haunted?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like there was, like there would have been something controlling him to do all that madness.
Well, besides the demon that he had on him, I'm talking about all the things that he took and did. You know,
well, the horrible violation and everything of that, it's going to probably tear up portals, corrupt the area, and it's going to allow all sorts of stuff to come in there. And of course, some people could be, there's remaining spirits, they're going to be pissed at what's being
yeah. Yeah, I was watching this show the other day. It was a ghost show, and I don't watch a lot of these, but I've seen a few here and there. And there was one on there that was like they were channeling the different places. They were doing something about Jeffrey Dahmer, and it might be on YouTube. You might be able to look it up. But it was these ghost hunters, and they were tracking down Jeffrey Dahmer's spirit. And they went to a hotel.
Yeah. Check hell.
What is it?
I said check hell.
Oh, yeah. But they went to this hotel where he had unalived this one young man, and they said that there was just this anger there. That spirit was there still. And the hotel, the people at that hotel there, I think it was in Milwaukee, right? They said that it was haunted. That room was really haunted. A lot of people had problems there. So they go in there, and of course their EMF detect all that ghost stuff is just going crazy. And they encountered an angry spirit, and he was just pissed because Dahmer had did what he did to him. Can you imagine, like the house or the apartment where Dahmer did what he did, or the house where John Wayne Gacy did what he did? You know what I mean? Like because they did these murders in these places, or Dennis Nielsen, over there in Britain. They were just these people that did these things. Can you imagine the horrific? Did these people that did this, I wonder if they ever saw these ghosts and thought, because I don't remember hearing anybody talk about it. We know that Fox Hollow Farms is extremely haunted. That was Herb Baumeister.
I'm sure these things are manifesting in semi-physical form in front of these people and convincing them to do half of this crap. I wouldn't doubt that for a second.
I do know we didn't get too many murder cases but there's some I had to deal with directly. You could sense energy at times. Of course, the cases that always bothered me were the suicides because I know what that level of depression is like, and so I had a huge empathy towards those people. And I could sense the energy with those too. Like you could sense a different type of energy or frequency around some of those cases. Again, I saw a lot of bad stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I saw a lot of bad things, states of people, stuff people should never ever have to see. So again, one of the reasons I have a huge problem with the concept of hell because I've seen what someone who goes through a fire several times looks like, and I don't wish that upon anyone. Even these horrible people doing all these horrible things in the world right now. It's horrific. It's horrific. The sight, the stench. I don't even like to talk about it much because it is just horrific.
Yeah,
Um,
my friend Jenny's a mortician as well, and shout out to Jenny. But she said that the same thing, that they encounter some of the worst, most horrible things you could ever possibly imagine.
yeah, yeah. Like it's like I tell my brother who I love and care for to not ride motorbikes. He doesn't listen to me, but I view those things as death traps.
Oh yeah.
Uh, yeah, they're death traps. They're absolutely horrific. I would not ride one. You couldn't force me to. Because at the end, the worst carnage is industrial and vehicular. Those are the two worst ones in terms of sheer carnage. Um, decomps, as they're called, are horrific as well. Everyone has something that bothers them within an industry. Some people, it's weird. It's like fingernails. I don't know why that bothers some people, but some of my coworkers, it was fingernails. For me, it was the stench, and decomp was the worst. I won't go into much details, but I've had to take someone from one side of the province to another who was a 2-month gone decomp.
Ugh.
Yeah, the double body bag, and this is my earlier first year. So I didn't realize I could have the windows down properly. So I drove with the windows up all the way back. So I didn't know the rules fully that I could have them down when I'm on the highway to keep fresh air in because my air freshener had expired. So that trip built some character on me. I'll put it that way. Um, pretty nasty. It felt terrible for the guy because no one had found him till 2 months. Um, yeah, just really horrific stuff. And of course, I've dealt with every age group. Um, so that's really tragic. And every community and culture within our province. Um, it's pretty extreme in terms of obesity, poor health choices. That's a huge killer. Sepsis is a huge one with cancer, and every community had their own effects. Unfortunately, I pretty much a lot of the communities knew me on a first name basis. Their head leaders and stuff knew me, especially in the First Nations. I feel terrible for them. Just the absolute um, level of mortality rate. It's horrific. It's horrendous in First Nations. It's horrendous. And then the next group after them is the Muslim communities.
What city was this?
Calgary.
Calgary. Okay.
Yeah. And so there's several reserves around Calgary. And so, again, terrible for them. Feel terrible for them. It's just the never shocked me. I didn't think it was that bad. And then the next group is Muslims, and a lot of it's genetic health problems. And I think there's a supernatural aspect to that, some of the stuff as well, because, especially with the Muslim community, they don't have Christ. And so there's tons of evil entities that have an open field day. And with the First Nations too, and the despair, I'm sure they have an effect. Us Europeans, stress was one of the biggest things. We work ourselves to death. We stress ourselves to the point we get into alcoholism and the drugs. And that's the big killer for us, was just sheer too much stress upon ourselves and working ourselves to death. Very similar to the Asian community as well. The loneliness was a bit more higher in that community. And that's just kind of statistically what I saw. And then everyone else is kind of mixed bag into that area. As I should say, suicide was a big thing for us Europeans too. Again, feel terrible for the people. But there is good positivity. The amount of people I helped, And I've had people literally hug me and thank me for helping them. And I tell you what, that made the job worth it. Was to be able to have a family, be able to just bear it a little bit easier. That's why I did the job. I was really proud of that. Not an arrogant pride, but that I really helped people. And that's what drove me and all my coworkers. We were making a difference. We were really helping people. And I'll be honest, we weren't paid as much as we probably should have been. I get paid more now than I do at that job. But I was helping people, making a difference. And that's what was important. So forgive me. I hope I didn't go too much on the side out of the paranormal. But I hope that gives people a little bit of the prospects of what that field's kind of like.
What you were saying about the stench, if you read like World War One chronicles, where they were sitting on the trench lines for months and months and months at a time after big battles, they would always talk about how bad the stench would get from the thousands of rotten corpses just standing feet and meters away from them.
Yeah,
So I couldn't even imagine how bad that would be.
it's bad, and it's just with a few. But then again, it's just like you convince there's something wrong in this reality when you encounter. To me, there's nothing worse you'll smell in the world than human decomposition.
No
And it's
doubt.
like, yeah, and it's like something almost instinctual inside of you that makes you revulse. The best way to describe it is if you imagine the air is so thick with flies, you could cut it with a knife. That's kind of the feeling you get from it. And I had been around some hunters who dumped a deer carcass in a bin near my old shop that my father used to have, and that nowhere near comes as close as that. We made the grim joke that we didn't even drink coffee in the morning because if there's a day comp in the building, well, that'll wake you right up instantly.
Uh,
Yeah, like it's nasty, but for the most part, a lot of people with good condition. You'd be amazed at how long someone could stay in good condition if they were in decent good health and decently clean, and then how quickly someone could go if they were in poor health and were not clean, which may have a spiritual aspect to that as well.
So, did you ever have any strange experiences while you were transporting these bodies?
Thankfully, thankfully for me personally, no. Thankfully, I had only one time with someone slightly sat up in the stretcher in the back.
Cool.
But yeah, I know. Good thing I didn't notice it until I was at a stoplight. But we think that was a bit of the having sat in the bed for until we could come over and retrieve them. So thankfully, not while we're driving. Thank God for that because you would probably freak out if. Well, from that, there is something else I had, and I think this was more of an evil entity sort. This one time in the morning, van's been all cleaned out, everything's good condition, and we go and we pull over at the funeral home. It's just me. My coworker had already gone back with the release, and I'm getting ready to go in to grab some paper supplies to run it over to another location. And all of a sudden, I'm hit with this overwhelming stench of decomposition, of death, decay. But there's no one in the vehicle. It's just me, and it's overwhelming, horrible stench, and it just comes out of nowhere. And I'm just looking, and just astonished, and going, "What the heck?" No sign, no nothing, no mess in the back, nothing. So I get out of the vehicle and you go, okay, I'm gonna go grab what I need and I'll grab some refreshing supplies. And if it's still bad, I'll bring it to the garage and clean it out and try to figure out what's going on. Come back, open the door, no stench at all. It's completely gone.
yeah, unclean spirits, man.
Yes. And another area I go to is a hobby store. You roll dice and hang out with your friends. Not a huge distance away from there. And that's the experience I can share at the end of this when I get laid off eventually. But that I counted it again, and it followed me back to where I live, the city where I live, and that's why I actually kind of. That's another story I'll share later, but that's linked to this, and I think that's this evil entities that are hanging around the major cities now, and they'll be attracted by death, funeral homes, anywhere there's negative energy. Because yeah, I think that's exactly you're right, Dick Richards. That it was an unclean spirit, absolutely,
I think so too. So
absolutely.
I just wanted to say about that body sitting up. I knew an old naval veteran, and he told me one time that they were in a convoy, and one of the ships had been torpedoed by a U-boat, and that they had to scoop all of the bodies out of the ocean with the net from the ship that had just gone down. And he said that he was on night watch, in the middle of the night with all of these bodies sitting there in the net. And he said that he looked over and one of the bodies sat straight up, and he said it was because of the gases, but the body sat straight up, went "Bleh," and then
Ugh.
fell back down again. And he got some pretty bad PTSD from that, needless to say.
Yeah, there's times we will tilt people over on their sides to get the sheet underneath them, so wrap them up in front of the family or by ourselves from care homes, and they'll moan a little bit. Sometimes the air comes out of the esophagus. So I've had a few things somewhat similar to that where they'll actually moan a bit. You hear a sound.
Yeah,
Um,
that's crazy.
yeah, yeah, it's a little bit unnerving. Essentially, like I had one thing I used to do the thumb scans, right? So you get the thumbprints because some people like to have that thumbprint and medallion to remember their loved one by. It was a nice little service. And the hand would actually close around my hand while I'm doing.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
yeah, while I'm doing the thumb scan, right? Um, yeah, you get. It took me like about 2 to 3 months to get used to it because I was really, treated everyone like they're still alive, right? And the cook was like, "Oh, no, you can move them this way. It's okay. That they're gone. They're not here anymore, right? You don't have to be extremely slow, right?" It was still always very respectful, but like I'm treating it like I'm moving someone's like mother, like who's still alive, right? Which you don't have to be to that level of extreme, right? Obviously, we're being respectful, right? We're never doing anything disrespectful. We're always very caring and loving, right, of everyone's loved one. But like, it's just you had to get used to that, right? Because it's I'm holding someone put in the cold. They're not alive anymore, right? So that took me to get used to because you're not used to that. You're used to pan someone in the back who's alive, and then when you pan, holding someone who's deceased, you have to get used to that. It's a bit of like a shock, right? Um, I hope this is okay. um,
Do their beard and fingernails still grow?
no, no, that's pretty much the your skin begins to recede, and that's why it looks like it's growing. It's just the skin
Okay,
receding.
okay.
Yeah, you're dehydrating. We actually would do a lot of cream on the face areas people are going to view to help keep that hydration in place. That was one of the big things to help stop that from happening. Now,
Interesting.
yeah, I'll go with the last big paranormal case, and then what I'll do is I'll describe something that is very important about someone we received that I think was not ended by something natural. But first, I'm going to do probably the best ghost story I have. So there's one location. It's a several-storied location, and I pull up. It's about 3 in the morning, the witching hour. We didn't like to be in this location past 12 because stuff would get quite active. But this time I had to do this my last run of the night. So I pull in. I enter through the garage, and I hear banging upstairs, constantly banging. I'm going, well, okay, the alarm's not going off. So there was someone who got into it. The alarm would be going off. So I turn off the alarm. I go, okay, I'm going to go and grab my paperwork, bring my purse, and go to the elevator. And I'm going to go up. I'm going to see what's going on. Maybe there's something with the appliance or something. I don't know. I'm just trying to think about what it could be. So then I come back around. I'm getting ready to go up. And I see, thankfully, my coworker's pulling up. I'm like, okay, fantastic. So if there's something going on, I can immediately call them to come up and give me a hand. So I go in the elevator. Now, we normally lock the elevator door shut. So when we open it, it stays open. It doesn't close because it likes to open and close all the time on its own. And we've had people come and look at it, and no one can figure out why. It's spiritual activity that's causing it.
Yeah, you know why.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. So we come up, I lock into place. I bring the deceased out, and it immediately just gone. As soon as the door opens, dead silence. Okay, I turn on just the main lamp in the main lobby area just so I can see where I'm going because people can't see down the other side of the street, and so we try to keep lights low so people don't see that we're doing our work. I go into the side room. I'm setting up my person, making sure they're all good and set in place, and all of a sudden hear banging right outside my door. I whip up my phone. I call my coworker. She's on the floor right beneath me, and she's a bit newer, and she's in full panic. Right, she's freaking out. And I said, "Just go to the garage. I'll be right there. I'll deal with this." Right, and up, I storm out the door, ready literally to fight someone. Right, I'm full bullheaded, ready to go. Dead silence. No, nothing's there. Now they had gone downstairs to the elevator with their person, and they had come to the mid-level and left through the main lobby area, hearing that sound. The elevator had, for some reason, come up to my level, and the elevator door now, it doesn't open and close like it normally does. It's a rapid, unnatural pace. It's that fast. So I had to go put my arm in it, stop it, lock it into place, quickly go over, okay, my person's all good, the room's all good, turn off the light, close the door, come back downstairs to the main garage. My coworkers are freaking out. I'm like, it's okay, just head to your vehicle, head back. We're done for the day. That's the last run. I'm locking up right behind you. I'll be right behind you, and we'll go and have a lunch, and that's it for the day. So we head back. We're sitting there. We're having a lunch in the central location. Now we have these wood blocks that are used for what we call the tray views to keep the lids in place. They're about the length of my thumb, your average thumb. So this is about, I'd say about 5 to 8 meters from where they're kind of stored. And I see at the corner of my eye, it go flying across the room and hit my coworker in the back of her head. Yeah, and she just looks at me. I'm like, yeah, I saw that. They didn't like her. She was a little bit mean, a little bit rude to me at times, and I think they took offense to that. I think the spirits actually kind of liked me to some extent. And yeah, so they kind of pestered her a whole bunch there. She even had like an apparition of like a face of a previous manager kind of appear from the steps, looking at her once. She told us anyways, and that scared the shit out of her. We never had that. So that's for the ghost stories. Josh, if do you want to hear a few more, or do you want me to go into this release that we had that was very concerning to me and my coworkers?
Just tell away. Tell whatever you got.
Okay. And I hope I wasn't too graphic with some of the stuff before. You can
No,
edit
you're
out.
fine. You're fine.
Okay, perfect. I want to be careful because it's such a sensitive subject. We had one release. I brought them back in, and this release was labeled as a bear attack. And I'm going to be as vague as possible with some of this stuff, in respect for everyone. But so I open up the body bag, right? Just normally unzip the body bag because you have to look over the deceased for jewelry, belongings, all that stuff, and you have to record everything, right? It's very important. Unfortunately, you've had paramedics steal stuff from people, all sorts of stuff getting lost. So it's very important as a funeral home because you're usually the one everyone points the finger at first, instead of the many other possible points where someone could have lost something or taken something. So we go through the paperwork, we're filling everything out, keeping track. I'm looking at this person, and then I find out, I look after the report and it says a bear attack, bear had killed this person. I'm looking at this person, and their forearm, the bone there is perfectly broken out of the arm. And then I'm looking at the head. So the hair is all still intact in place. The skin is all there, but the skull is caved in on the right side, caved in perfectly. And I brushed the hair a bit looking just because it's strange. There's no claw marks. There's nothing like that. The skin is unblemished for the most part, completely unblemished, which doesn't make any sense. Her thighs clawed into, and it's 3 claws, and it's like a knife through butter, perfect cuts through the thighs and the skin. So I'm still looking at this person. I'm going, this isn't a bear attack. Like the claw doesn't match at all. The perfect indentation on the head with no even bruising on the skin. I don't know. I kind of think if a bear has the ability, the strength to hit someone, like you'd have to hit them with like an object almost to perfectly do that. Like it require a whole bunch of force to do that. And how a bear attacks, a bear's not going to do that. And then the broken arm is like perfect. It's like someone came up and just dispatched this person and then went away. Because there's no defensive wounds. There's no attempt for this person to defend himself from whatever attacked them. There's no signs of defensive wounds. And my when the head bombs come over and looks at it, and they're also disturbed by it, and they're going, yeah, this, because they've dealt with cases before like this, and they go, this is not correct. What's like they're confused. But we bring them in, we do the paperwork, everything, and You make a note of it back for the medical examiners going, something's kind of weird. Never hear back from them. They have the service. That's it.
What do you think it was?
With what I experienced later out there in those areas, because they're out in the forest, obviously, there's definitely this dogman. There's other entities out there as well. It could be a number of things that did that to her. It could be a black magic practitioner or a demon cult, and that they got into the wrong side of. It could be these one of the black hounds. It could be all sorts of things, and I know they're all out there in the forests. And I'm convinced there's cults and stuff like that within, unfortunately, my community, Calgary, and the entire province. They're everywhere. So I think it's something like that. I definitely convinced it's not a bear. A bear does not attack. I decided to go online to study this and this stuff and understand. And I used it only for understanding a funeral home, what I was expected to deal with, and make sure I could handle it. And what I could see and what I could find, no, it matches nothing with any bear attack. It doesn't make any sense. The bear claws would not look like that, and their condition, no, it's impossible. It's impossible that that person was killed by a bear. I don't know what killed them, but I can't think of much things that have like a 3-claw attack that's intelligent enough to perfectly take out someone that instantly without them even trying to defend themselves. And then no one to see or notice, and everyone to say it's a bear.
Yeah, and for people to say, "Well, see, cryptids don't attack people." Well, they do. It ends up being labeled something like this.
Yeah, dog attacks and bear attacks and all that nonsense.
Yeah, because they think, "Oh, if that was happening, we would hear about it." Well, the fact is, you do hear about it. You just don't hear it called what it actually is.
Yeah.
Just chalked up to it's a bear, it's a wild animal, it's a large cat.
No, that's exactly it. And it alarmed me. It alarmed me. And that one's troubled me throughout the rest of my days. And I feel terrible for the family, because either they know they're not sane, or they don't really know what happened to them, and they're just being told a lie. And the system covered it up. Now, one's a bit lighter subject matter that's just really strange. And you're going to really like to hear this, Josh. This one's weird. It's not funeral home related, but it's related during my work. I was coming back about 12:30, 12:40 p.m. And the roads are dead. It's just me coming back to the main facility in the by the industrial area of Calgary, heading towards where I need to go. There's this empty lot in front of a hardware store. It's by some train tracks. And all of a sudden, and the best way I can describe it is like the Terminator movies. There's this blue orb that all of a sudden appears on the ground, and it begins expanding. And I'm seeing this from like the hill coming down the road, and it all of a sudden becomes a blinding white light. And I see the sky itself lighting up to like daylight blue, and then I'm blinded for like a second, and then it's gone. And I see nothing there in that lot. It's absolutely empty. There's no smoke. There's no nothing. There's no nothing there. And I'm not missing any time. Thank God. I'm not missing any time. Yeah. And I drive back to our central location. I go in, okay, the power is fine. So it wasn't a power surge. I'm going, what the heck? What was that? Right? And so the next day I look in the paper, there's no mention of it. I'm going to like, how could people have slept through that? It lit up everything.
Yeah, that is strange.
Yeah.
You didn't see a T-1000, nothing like that?
No, I didn't see Arnold Schwarzenegger walking around thing. But yeah. So like maybe it's a portal or something coming to our reality, or like a plasmoid like being, something like that. Like I don't know what it was, but there was something was there. That's a really weird one.
So you said you encountered a dog man too, didn't you?
More than once. That mostly picked. So I had something happen before, and then it really picked up after I got laid off in the funeral industry.
Was that all the stories from the funeral home?
Trying to think, I could go. I had one coworker talk to me about one of the ones that's in the cemetery. Because we have many locations. We even helped other funeral homes. Before they renovated it, they had purchased it, come in, and they had staff working. A staff member told me this place was incredibly active before they renovated the place. She described literally they would open these big, massive doors that are like separating the main viewing area. And she described just absolute like wind gush and sounds like a thunderstorm outside, and tons of apparitions and stuff like that would happen to the point they were so terrified the staff refused to go in there until they renovated the place. And so the upper management brought in renovations. And I think they brought in a priest too. And then things calmed down after that. Well, yeah, they described like especially the older places that haven't been renovated, they would be very active. But once they renovated stuff, it would calm down. One other location, my coworker had an issue with the security company because the alarm kept on going off inside the building. So they had some specialists come out and look at it. And I'm coming over because the alarm had gone off again. And they just got off the phone talking to security, and they tell me, uh, well, the security guys that are the main center that she's calling, they don't realize this is a funeral home. And they tell her the response was pretty much that the only way that alarm's going off in that stairwell if there's someone actually physically walking up and down the stairwell. Well, she's the only person in the building. And actually, this individual, they had a nickname for him, which was Henry. And they would see him as a top hat figure all the time, a black figure with a top hat. Now, not like the Hatman, it was like a proper old early 1800s top hat. And I saw him once out the corner of my eye. He was the one who probably slammed the door when I was upstairs in that room with that facility. There's also a side room to that office area where she's doing the dispatching. And we set some of the people on the tables and stuff like that for viewing, washing, depending on what community they're a part of. There's different types of rituals and services they do. And they'll have issues where the tables would be moved around during the night. And there's no staff members going there. Stuff would just move around. The central location, we did a lot of the embalming and stuff. There would be times where they have like 10 people on tables, between everyone in the cupboards, right? Because it's a smaller place, so we had to manage as we managed. Again, everyone was treated with great respect. There was no anything bad. Everyone was treated with great respect. We just would tie in space at times. But they would come up for the break. They'd come back down from the break, and all the cupboards would be opened. And they noticed no one who's able to get into that room because it's locked and secured. So it's like, how the heck that happened? Coworker had a wrench go flying across right in front of him once. There was this, I guess, a very angry spirit with one of the deceased, and it was threatening coworkers and harassing them by throwing objects at people. The central location, one of the locations I talked about, we had that whole elevator issue. One of my coworkers had gone to the staff room underneath to take just a quick, 15-minute, a nap. He was quite tired during his break during the middle of the night. And this place used to be a school at one point. And he described little footsteps running across the hallway right above him in the middle of the night. He freaked out and left the building and refused ever to sit there again during the night like that. I had one nice thing with the elevator, though. I had my arm full of supplies in a really, really bad, dangerous night to drive in horrible winter conditions. And the elevator door actually opened up for me. I was like, oh, what? Thank you. That's nice. Right. And I put my stuff in and I go. So actually, that was a case of something being nice. I was trying to think, because there's a whole bunch, and I was trying to go through them all.
The Hatman has been seen with all types of different hats on, from sombreros to fedoras to top hats to baseball caps to all kinds of different types of hats, like cultural iterations of the Hatman.
Oh, really? I thought it was just a specific type of hat.
No. Chinese rice hats, everything.
Wow. Because, yeah, everyone nicknamed him Henry, right? And they thought it was like an old, Undertaker. There was also a child ghost that was seen there a whole bunch. We had apparently one of the old managers was hanging around one of the locations because two coworkers saw them. I actually got to meet the individual before they passed. I never was bothered. Again, for the most part, the spirits were pretty chill with me. Like, they definitely let me know they were around. They were decently chill with me and a few of the other coworkers, and some of the other ones they really didn't like. So you had a bit of a personality. Some people they liked, they didn't like you, they let you know pretty quickly. This, not to say ghost, but this one's a good kind of a creepy story. So the one of the locations, I'm down in the basement and I'm, doing the thumb scans and filling the paperwork for the deceased. And what happened is the middle of winter and the power went out. So what happened, I'm sitting there down there in the basement by myself, and it's like the first year of doing this. And all of a sudden the lights dim come back a little bit, and then go into pitch blackness.
Oh,
Right. So I go, okay, how'd I go? So I come down the hall, I'm coming up, and all the staff members are rushing to the entrance to the basement because they're like, oh my goodness, Sean's down there. Like they're afraid I'm gonna absolutely lose my shit. So I come, I was like, it's okay, yeah, it's okay. I live in Skyway, it's okay. To my credit, I got a headlight. I went back down and I finished my job. That career really toughened me up, and I think in a way, God, Christ, and the Holy Spirit meant for me to be there to deal with that subject matter, to be toughened up by it, and also maybe to exercise my spiritual senses a bit. Because throughout my time there, I could definitely sense things. Like I could sense when, yeah, there's gonna be activity on this floor of the building I'm at. There's a presence with me, right? I'm not alone. I could sense this very clearly, very quickly. And like I said, I always had it, but it definitely got super activated during my time there. There's one other location where I was definitely like a ghostly figure that would always hang around in the main viewing area. And a lot of times they would end services and they would see there's a lone person sitting there still. And they go in around the sea and they're all gone. I was in this location, brought the casket and closed the door, and then the handle would jingle, right? And I'm sitting at the casket going, hey, I don't need that right now. Please don't scare me, right? And it would stop, usually. Yeah, a lot of the locations you didn't like to be there past 12 or earlier into the morning because stuff would get active and it would get creepy. But again, the real dangerous threat we had was homeless people and people under the influence of drugs. Um, I had one person try to pretty much force their way into the building once in the middle of the night. When I was there, I had to close the door. I actually had to kick them out and slam the door on them, self-defense. They chase other coworkers in the morning when they're going to start their day. I pray for them. There's a serious problem, and like some of them were definitely under the influence of other entities. We had one. The One of the Obamas told me this. We had one creepy younger lady who came up to near one of the central location, and she's bothering staff during the break. They're outside having a smoke break, and this individual says to them, "Let me in there. I know what you're doing there. I know what's in there. Let me in. Let me in." And like, no, you have no authority. Get out of here. What's wrong with you? Right? And she would harass him to the point they had to call the police. She would come back several days. We don't know what the heck was wrong with that person, but the police eventually chased them off and said, okay, you can't, if you come here again, we're going to, charge you.
And that was the worst, like the threat you had?
General for me, thankfully, yes. Like I said, the one guy who tried to literally force his way into the funeral home when I was there, that one was a little bit dangerous because he was under the influence of stuff. Thankfully, he didn't have a knife. He threatened he had one. Thankfully, he didn't. I had to call the police on that guy to make sure that he was gone from the premise. But generally, that's the case. It was just creepy with the ghosts, but I never felt truly threatened by them. The closest was maybe that guy standing behind me in the suit.
Well, you know what they say about these ghosts and all that. They're as afraid of you as you are of them.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And they're not going to hurt you if you don't see them and notice them. They won't hurt you.
You just got to show them who's boss.
Yeah.
That's spiders, dude.
You take your shirt off and challenge them to a fight like well, I was going to say his name.
Yeah, don't say his name. Bilbo or Dildo Baggins.
Yeah. Back Zaggins.
Dude, I got to meet the Muslim community a whole bunch. There's actually some people there who were awesome, who helped us out like tons, and they were great. I really hope they're still doing well. I haven't seen them, of course, since I got laid off. The synagogue, too. I met with the head rabbi there a few times. So he was always very helpful, helped us get it inside and set up everyone. So I got to meet quite a few different cultures. So that's another thing that was really nice. I got to actually get to know people on base. Unfortunately, the subject matter is not great, but I still got to meet people and get to know a bit more of the city and the different communities. We got some wacky story. People will do some weird things in grief. They'll do some very weird things. The most famous story we have is there's a family quarreling with each other, fighting with each other, and they can't decide whether to cremate their father or bury them. So it takes several hours, and the director eventually goes, "Okay, I have another family here. Let me take care of them, and then I come back. I'll hear what you guys have decided on." they come back, and then his family, and this is apparently a real story. I know it's unbelievable. The family says, "Okay, we decided." And he's like, "Okay, great. What did you want to do?" It's just, "Well, we have him half cremated, half buried."
Ugh.
Yeah, and we just look at him, and he
Wow.
just looks at him like, "What?" Like, no. So I think they ended up having him buried. But it's just like, yeah, literally, like family just absolutely. I don't have words for it, but apparently that's a real story.
God. When my mother passed, we had her at the Condra Funeral Home in Taylor, Texas. Anthony, tell him that story of that what that mortician told us.
He and some of his employees, they had all seen the same thing there. Like at night, whenever they're working and they go out to the parking lot, they would look back in this same window on the second story, on the second floor, and see these two red eyes just staring at them from that window, and everyone had seen it.
Weird. And he said that one night he looked up and he saw it, and he said it just scared him so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And he just got out of there as fast as he could. I mean, but geez.
Yeah, I could imagine. Thankfully, I never had any glowing eyes in the funeral home.
No red
Anyways, that
eyes, nothing like that.
no, thank God for that. No, the worst we have is that negative experience entity that absolutely terrorized one of my coworkers. Um, no, thankfully, no, I don't think I ever had any glowing eyes looking at me.
And so the person that was mauled by the bear, do you believe you don't believe that it was a bear? I mean,
No,
obviously, yeah.
yeah, it can't be the claw marks, and the way they were taken out is something highly intelligent in it, and something incredible strength that I don't think even maybe a bear has the strength to do it, but I don't think the bear has the intelligence and the skill to do it.
You said it was a three clawed too, aren't paws
Yeah,
bear paws four claws?
yeah. The four technically fives. You have the thumb, but the thumb's
Yeah.
for the back, and it's kind of like a rounded front. This is just like three like perfect scrape right through the skin, and it's literally like a knife through butter, a hot knife through butter. It's just like perfect cut through, and no, a bear can't do that. Bear does not have razor sharp claws. I know I have one other case. I'm gonna try to be as ungraphic as possible with it. It wasn't a supernatural creature attacking this person, but they may have been under the influence of something because they had taken a kitchen knife and deleted themselves with it about 22, 23 times.
What?
Oh my gosh.
And
Oh, that's
yeah,
horrific.
and I had the box with the knife that the family wanted back, which I don't know why, but grief makes you do weird things like that.
Whoa.
And I felt a extreme negative energy with the knife and the body. Extreme negative energy. I felt uncomfortable bringing them back to the facility where they're getting cremated.
And on that note, did you ever go home thinking, maybe something followed you or you felt something?
I have a little cousin who was home with us, and I was helping play with him, helping with his Legos. And two things happened. One time he said, "Oh, I had a dream," because I wanted to keep him out of my room because I had a bunch of like oil painting supplies in my room. I didn't want him to come in there, right? So chemicals, they could be hazardous. And he says, "Oh, I had a dream, and the man in your room told me not to come in your room, so I won't go in your room anymore." And it's just like a normal side conversation. I'm going like, "Okay, what did this man look like?" And he just says, "Just a man," and he wouldn't continue about it. So there was that, and then there was another time I come out, and he had come downstairs, and I was just coming out of the washroom, brushing my teeth, and I was going, "Hey, how you doing?" And he just looked behind me like he just seen the worst monster he ever seen, and ran upstairs screaming all the way to his aunt. I had to come give him chocolate and calm him down, and everyone's thinking like, "Oh, it's because you were brushing your teeth." I'm like, "No, he was looking behind me at something, and it terrified him to the point where he ran upstairs."
Did he ever tell you what he saw?
No, he wouldn't even say. He wouldn't even say. But I have blessed the house since and purchased anything that was here. It's gone now.
And when you were working there, you never had anything like where you woke up and you felt like something was there, and it was just 100% that it was from the job.
No, no. Thankfully, I only had one nightmare actually, from the job. That one was, and it sucked because that next night I had to be there by myself because my coworker was on vacation. But it was a main central location, and it was a headless corpse had come out of the holding facility. We kept everyone and was running around looking for me. And I ran over to the bathroom and slammed the door shut because I began coming up the stairs. And surprisingly, that was the only nightmare I had. Now I had another coworker who was with us just for a few months, and they quit. And they said they would have dreams of the faces of all the dead people they've seen throughout the days, and
Mm.
they couldn't handle it. Yeah, they couldn't handle it anymore. They just quit, and they were an ex-paramedic. And I did a lot to try to help encourage them. Like, oh, you just pick up a good hobby, try to listen to happy music on the way home, things you can do to help kind of get your mind off the work. But yeah, just he couldn't handle it, and he was having nightmares like that constantly. So I think it was good he left for his own well-being. Um, and some people definitely had stuff that followed them home. Um, yeah, thankfully I didn't have too much actually bother me from that job. I was just mentally really toughened for it, and for the most part, the spirits didn't seem to want to bother me a whole bunch. They once in a while did something to, startle me, but for the most part, I'm pretty lucky.
And so the whole time you were there, you had all these different coworkers and different people tell you the things that they saw, and you yourself had things happen, but you okay, like with this headless corpse thing, like did it come in that way? Did the corpse come in that way?
Oh, it was just in the dream. There was no deceased body there like that. It was just in the dream. It just came out of there again, chasing me around.
Mm.
That's scary stuff, man.
Yeah, yeah. How long did you work there?
I worked there for about 5 years, and then I
5
got laid
years.
off.
What, and then they laid you off? What, there weren't enough dead people or something? It
Well,
was
the COVID outbreak and what it did to the economy is no one could afford the bread and butter of that industry, which is the services. They just get the loved ones cremated and brought home, and that be it. And so they almost had to close down locations. It hit them that hard. And we were busy. Like I was one of the few people working in COVID because you need people to work during that. Now I gotta be careful about what I say because I don't know how much the platforms might censor, but certain um, jabs, certain medication. We noticed a massive increase in elderly people passing within 1 to 2 days after that medication was given.
Oh,
To
bad.
the, to the point nurses and doctors were raising their eyebrows, looking at us and nodding and going, "There's something not right." And they knew very early on that it was not it was a man-made virus. It was not some natural thing. So people knew about it. They were just, threatening their jobs, so they weren't able to say anything. And for the first 2 weeks, we were terrified. Everyone was terrified. Half the staff took vacations because they didn't want to deal with it. And the management whole plan for, well, this is a percentage of employees. If this is a lethal virus, we expect to lose, right? They had a whole plan that out. But thankfully, after the first 2 weeks, things began realizing like, okay, this isn't as lethal to a healthy average person as we think it is. Now, the facilities for the elderly and the people with immune system and health problems, they were vulnerable and they did die in masses. And that's where the resources and effort should have been focused towards is protecting those people, right? But still allow general society to continue functioning so people can support themselves and it's ensure that the people who are vulnerable are protected. Because it was terrible going to some of these care homes and just the level of outbreak. And we worked our asses off. It was brutal. We had to expand our facility just because the sheer volume. And of course, families couldn't have services properly, and we felt terrible about that. We all were upset about that because it's hard for the families and they can't have a proper service for the loved one, which is what kicked off a lot of the cremations. There's one other thing I was thinking too, but I can't remember what it was now. Oh yes, yes. So one thing, just normally, averagely, in every year, winter, particularly right around Christmas, was the most busiest time of the year. Was the worst time. That's when most people would pass. Right before, during, or right after Christmas. A lot of people who are in poor health or elderly pushing themselves too hard at that point, and their bodies just give out. And it sucked having to work Christmas Day and be there and be on call and having to go and bring people's loved ones to the yes.
That's a
Yeah.
hell of a thing to work on Christmas Day.
Yeah, it did the job, and I always looked at it that I'm helping these families at this moment in time, and that's what's important.
Yeah, so it's a job that somebody has to do.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And I think God, Christ, and the Holy Spirit made sure I got in there to toughen me up a whole bunch.
The Lord works in mysterious ways.
Exactly.
Yeah, it sounds like it trained your spiritual discernment.
Oh, yes.
Well, folks, that's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you for tuning in to Paranormal Roundtable. Good night.